Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. I'm Jay and joining us is our special guest, Caitlin.
Hi.
There she is once again on a Thursday. And Natty Warisa.
Hello.
It was Natty's birthday yesterday.
Yes. I am 58, apparently.
Yeah, she's 58 and she had a wild night, so she's going to be a little slow this morning, so please forgive Natty. But a well-deserved birthday anyways. Welcome to the show, everyone. It's a bright Thursday morning in Bangkok today. Before we start the show, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Mark Banker and Rupert Simmons. Thank you for being Thaiger members and supporting the channel. We really appreciate it. As well as Coffee Culture. Coffee Culture's new Sit and Stay blend with chocolate-infused coffee, ground coffee as well. You can buy that at coffeeculture.asia. All right. Today's main topics will be Pattaya bar owners are pushing for New Year's reopening for entertainment venues, cleaning up the canals, New Year planning, and MBK, which is a major mall, trying to buy stakes in street food brands. So more on that a little later. Please subscribe to the Thaiger if you haven't already. Ladies, how are we today?
I'm feeling great. What about you?
Yeah, I'm good.
How about you, Jay? Better ask you.
Terrific. Right, let's start off by talking about the canals. Now, we all know that they're canals, and for those of you who've seen the canals, know how disgusting the water is. Natty, you've got more news on this.
Yes, so before I ask you guys, or before I go on to the story, have you guys ever rode in one of those how do you call it? Like those taxi water buses?
Yeah, water buses,
Maybe
sure.
water taxis or boat taxis.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that, though?
Okay, so at first I was thinking about if I should live somewhere where I would commute by water taxi, and that sounded like a great idea. I just moved to Bangkok. I'm like, oh, that would be so cool if I went on a boat to go to work. But then I heard that it gets slammed in the morning. Like, it is packed with people. So I decided not to. And I've been on the taxi, but when it's not the rush hour, and it's still pretty crowded.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have experience. And what about you?
Yes, I've only been on it once, and let it be known that I'm exaggerating, but the water just looks like if it touches you, it's going to go through your skin. You know, I mean, and at some point that water will touch you, because when you're on a boat and you're driving and like there's always like sprinkles of extremely dirty water, you don't want it to touch you. But it is convenient midday when people are in the offices and they're not really traveling. That's when I like to go out in the middle of my day. But it's quite convenient. You can travel to many different locations.
Right. Well, not weird, but that you said that the waters are dirty. They're actually not dirty. They're toxic.
Oh, okay.
They're toxic. So in 2003, a singer from a boy band actually crashed into one of these klongs, and he passed away, not because of the car crash, but because he ingested copious amounts of these klong waters, and it caused serious brain infections with rare fungus development in his brain, and he passed away that way. So it's very gross. And because of that, the Thai cabinet actually recently approved an 82.5 billion baht or 11-year rehabilitation project for Bangkok's Klong San Sap. And that money kind of covers the klongs to be cleaned up. And because there's a lot of garbage in the waterway and the wastewater flows into the canal, it creates a lot of pollution and it creates a lot of congestions for the boats to go along the canals. And along with that, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration is also tasked to boost transportation safety along the canal, because there have been cases also in the past where the piers have completely broken and people fall into the canals, which is not great. Also, to improve the surrounding scenery, because there's a lot of graffiti going on, although I think those are kind of cool.
I kind of like the graffiti,
Yes.
honestly.
Agreed.
Yeah. I kind of like those, but I think they mean like more plants or something, because at some points they are a little bit dull. Obviously, to remove pollution, halt natural resource deterioration, and manage water resources. On top of that, they are planning to build more piers to accommodate the 800 to 1,000 passengers who go by the electric boat each day, as well as increase water treatment capacity to also help the rapid drainage of the water and the expansion of flood prevention areas in Bangkok, which we so desperately need because along Asok roads, we know during flood seasons, wow, I've seen motorbikes where the entire wheel is completely inundated. Like it's like completely submerged inside the waters when it floods. So great that the BMA is going to do this and we're going to improve the canal situation.
I did not realize, I mean, I knew that the canals were dirty, but I did not realize they were that polluted. I mean, I read a book of somebody who was here in Bangkok in the 1990s, and back then it was known as being dirty with wastewater being dumped into the canals, and she said that some had splashed on her and she was sick for months.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You can get
Alright.
typhoid from it, I think.
Yeah, well, now that they've said they're going to start cleaning it up, I'm expecting it to take about 5 to 10 years that it's actually properly cleaned up.
Yeah,
Let's
11
see.
years they said.
Oh, 11 years?
Yes,
Oh, so
11.
10 years was a good guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my
job.
understanding is they're going to try to treat the wastewater before it goes into the canal.
Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry, 11 years.
But you know, we've been polluting it for half a century. So 11 years seems an appropriate estimation of time. Yeah.
Or just focus all their strength into fixing a problem as soon as possible. All right, I don't know much about what it takes to fix a canal, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. Moving on, let's talk about the news that most of you might be here for. This is regarding Pattaya. Now, Pattaya, specifically bar owners, are pushing for entertainment venues to properly reopen for the New Year's or in time for the New Year's. Caitlin Ashworth, you've got more regarding this.
Right. So Pattaya bar owners and tourism officials and those who own other entertainment venues and nightclubs in the area are pushing for bars to reopen by New Year's. Now, they've been pushing for bars to reopen for a while now. Now, some, if you're in the area, you might notice that some might be open. Some might be doing some sort of loophole, like opening as a restaurant or something else. I don't
Bakeries.
A lot of bakeries opening up in Pattaya recently.
And they've been pushing the CCSA, which sets the disease control measures nationwide, for a while now to reopen because the nightlife is such a critical industry in Pattaya. But actually, the Pattaya News reports that a major meeting was held at City Hall with the mayor and the president of the Pattaya Business and Tourism Association, as well as some other officials, to talk about reopening the bars by New Year's. So nationwide, bars and nightclubs are ordered to remain closed at least until mid-January. But there have been some that are reopening under what's called COVID-free setting measures. Now, if you've been to like Bangkok's Khao San Road, you might notice that, I mean, it's not that COVID safe, but I would say, you know, showing your proof of vaccination or an ATK test at the entrance is required. There's been some other like rooftop bars and other areas that are now requiring proof of vaccination. So it's likely that if bars in Pattaya reopen, that you will need to show proof of vaccination or a negative result from an ATK test within the past 72 hours.
I think the negative result from an ATK test would, it's not ideal, but I can understand showing proof of vaccination. Most people in the country, or at least people in Pattaya, should be having one of those. That sounds like a decent compromise rather than it being closed. So, do you think this is possible?
Well, their argument is that they've been holding, there's been huge events in Pattaya recently, like the music festival and the fireworks festival. Both of those require people to show proof of vaccination and an ATK test to be able to get in. Or an ATK test. And there has not been a significant uptick in COVID-19 cases, and they've had these large festivals. So that's their argument, is like, hey, look, we've been able to have these large events with lots of people. This should show that we're ready to open bars.
Okay, all right. Let's take a quick break. Once we come back from the break, we're going to be talking about New Year's planning and how everyone is getting ready for the big bash, including an update on Andrea Bocelli, the man himself. And lastly, MBK to buy stakes in street food brands. We'll be back right after this.
Find the coffee roast you love most. Coffee Culture delivers Thai coffee online. Whole beans or pre-ground delivered to your doorstep in Thailand. Go to coffeeculture.asia and get coffee you love delivered to your doorstep.
Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand. That's Natty. This is Caitlin, and I'm Jay. And it's now time to talk about street food.
Sorry, silent.
Thank you for the silent cheers. Right, MBK, for those of you who are not aware, is a famous mall in Bangkok. Usually known, that's where you go to buy IT equipment, as well as fake watches and fake things, allegedly. Allegedly, of course.
Great promotion for MBK there. All
no,
right.
but it is a major brand.
Yes.
And they want to expand and try something new. In specific, they want to buy street food brands. That's what they want to do. Now, so here's more into it. MBK PLC intends to buy stakes in Thai street food brands as part of its efforts to reduce business risks and raise new income. Now, their main focus is that, let's focus on domestic travel. We don't know when the tourists will eventually come up. Everybody likes street food. Let's try to own some stakes into some famous street food brands. They're aiming to have about 51% stakes in these companies, 4 to 5 popular street food brands in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Cha Cheng Sao, one of the most popular places in Thailand. And yes, so initial thoughts, what do you think about such a big, giant, I wouldn't say corporate, but corporate companies trying to buy street foods? They're going out on the streets and taking away from Thailand's, appeal. Caitlin?
Well, as a foreigner who comes here, and the first thing you want to do is try the street food. I think that if a big corporation was behind a lot of the street food, then it wouldn't be as appealing, and it loses its kind of touch, because that sometimes there's very unique vendors, or maybe there's one that's been there a while and has a big reputation. So if it's corporate, I think it does lose its appeal, at least to people who are coming here for Thai food and wanting to try it.
Yeah, because Natty, I guess you can make an argument for everyone in this. So, for example, maybe people are not going to go shopping as much, but if maybe like a shopping mall like MBK can get street food vendors to come in and sell food, maybe it could be like a hub for going to eat after work. As well as street vendors they don't have to be out on the streets now, so they don't have to be out in the pollution and stuff. They can come inside and be in a mall, and people can come and buy food in the AC. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound nice?
I mean, I guess it depends on which side you're for. I guess if you're in the business side, MBK is doing the right thing in, making them their allies and kind of like being a good big brother and helping support them. I don't know what the 51 entails. I don't know how much they will be involved in the decision making and the creativity within the dishes, or how much power they're going to have on it, or they just want to kind of own it first. But I do agree with Caitlin here, where I'm a little bit afraid that what if the charm, kind of disappears with big corporations taking over a little bit. But I don't know. Again, it does make it convenient, I guess, for tourists in a way to just go to one place, and then you can just have your meals and then shop at the same place near the BTS. You don't have to go around town. There's just one place of beautiful food.
And it's already happening, for being totally transparent. Places like Central, and maybe not MBK, but places like Central, they have in their food section, they have these makeshift street vendor type shops where they make it look like it's a street vendor shop, but it's within the mall, to give you that authentic feel of street food, but in a very nice mall. So some malls already do that. Is this going to be the future? Viewers, let us know. What do you think? Is this going to affect the way Thailand is looked upon? Is this taking away from Thailand's beauty and appeal? Let us know in the comment section below. As for now, we're going to move on to our last topic, which is regarding New Year's. the country's 4 major tourist cities, Bangkok, Pattaya, Incheonburi, Phuket, and Chiang Mai, are planning for New Year's festivities. Now, like you said, Caitlin, Pattaya is trying to boost their economy and like come out with a bang. They've got celebrations lined up from 29th to 31st. They're holding their own concerts. They're inviting their own celebrities. They've actually succeeded in getting their Korean celebrity. I believe it's Bam Bam, who's also a Thai artist but working in a Korean band. Apologies if I've got that wrong. But yes, Pattaya is looking forward to it. Kun Wasan Sangwan Thoi Kam, owner of an entertainment venue in Pattaya, came out and said, the CCSA has made us smile again. This will bring income after a long time being hit by COVID-19. So obviously, for obvious reasons, Pattaya bar owners, entertainment venue owners, and business owners are happy that they're getting a chance to finally open up after a long fight against COVID, against asking the government to reopen and allow restaurants to at least operate. And now, further news on entertainment venues pushing for that as well. Do you think this is going to be a great big New Year's, as big as people want it to be in Thailand? Caitlin's excited.
I don't know.
It does look grim, doesn't it? I feel like it's going to be a sad New Year's. I'd like it to be huge, but it just feels like everything's still restricted.
Really, I actually feel a little bit more optimistic for this year than last year. I know it's not going to go back to pre-pandemic levels, that's for sure. Like, there's not going to be people gathering around Central World in front of the big Christmas tree, but I can feel restaurants being filled up, house parties happening, and people being happy about that. Yeah. Or maybe that's just my wish.
That's just Natty's nightlife, apparently. But yes, let us know. What do you think about Thailand's New Year? And are these big cities all we talk about? Because these are the big cities that are having the opportunity to hold these celebrations, whereas large parts of the country don't have the same celebrations. What about them? What about the little man, as people often like to say? What about this province and that province? Jay doesn't know Samut Prakan. How dare he? Move on. All right, that's it. We're going to take another break. Once we come back from the break, we'll answer some of the questions from the viewers. Thank you for staying tuned so far. Please keep on staying tuned. We'll see you after this.
Isn't it time for you to come back to the islands? Phuket is open and it's never looked better. Choose your trip to your favourite island with 5 Star Marine. Go to 5starmarinephuket.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand with Natty Warisa,
Hello.
Caitlin Ashworth, and me, Jay. It's now time to ask some questions and answers, but before we do that, Caitlin, you've got a quick update.
I've got a quick, kind of funny story. So, a candidate for Bangkok governor is under fire after he claimed to have studied engineering under Albert Einstein's grandson.
Wow.
He even went as far to say that he was the only one in Thailand that had studied under an Einstein.
Okay.
But a reporter decided to try to fact check his claims and found out that no, the professor is not related to Einstein in any way. He actually studied under someone called Herbert Einstein at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, also known as MIT.
Yeah.
And the candidate went as far to say, this is what translated from Thai, that he was the only direct descendant of Einstein in Thailand. What he means is that he was the only one who studied and got the knowledge, from Einstein, I guess, from the, yeah.
It sounded cool until he realized that people have Google.
Yeah, and someone actually reached out to the professor, and the professor said, yes, he was my student, and a very good one, but you know, I am not related to Einstein in any way.
As I've told him
He said,
countless
and
times.
I wish him luck on his run for governor. It's like, well, this might change things a bit.
Well,
I
he's-
don't know if he got confused because, like, in Thailand, right? Are we on the same page, right? Because if we have the same last name in Thailand, for example, if your last name is Jiratiwat, you know instantly that you're related to the central group family. Like everybody's last name, you can trace it back to the root. So maybe he's like, oh, Einstein, Albert Einstein.
Must be. I won't even question it.
Yeah, he could have actually like lived his entire university life in awe of this man.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I mean, I'm assuming maybe he's
That's why he was-
decades saying that he had.
That's why he was such a
studied-
good student. He's like, I have to pay attention.
This is
to
Einstein,
Yeah.
you guys.
Give the man his respect. All right, let's take some questions from the viewers. First question from Scott D, all the way from Chicago. Be careful of those heavy winds, sir. Stay safe. He says, you're tall at 6'2". When you interviewed people on the street, there was a guy who appeared to be 6'8". Was he standing on a stair? Yes, sir. He was actually on a ledge, and I didn't want him to come down, so I just stood where he did look like a giant. So for those of you who are aware of how tall I am, I was looking up to him like that. I was like, oh, maybe people think he's like 8 feet tall, this man. Cool.
I want to take this one. Gerald Shields, he says, hi to the crew, hi to Natty, good morning. It's Jerry and Sompon from yesterday on the streets in Nasok. Hoping you use our clip. Keep up the good work. Ciao. We will be using your footage, so do stay tuned for our Vox Pox with this gentleman right here as well. He was really cool.
Very nice. Gigi George says, if MBK takes the street food, then vendors have to pay rent now. Very costly. Vendors outside will have to worry about ingredients and not rent. Caitlin, any comments? The rent is
Not
actually
yet.
not that expensive. They're actually quite accommodating to the vendors. But I understand the long-term problem, Gigi George, because if this actually takes place and like in future there might be demand for these rental places in malls because that's where everyone's going. Create the demand and the rent will eventually increase.
I didn't think about rent. But one thing I was thinking about with that story was that maybe the cleanliness might be more regulated since it's under a corporation.
Yeah.
Could be better for the food quality, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish instead of the government taking away or making it illegal for people to sell things on the streets, I wish they just regulate it. Like, okay, you can have stalls here, and then, I don't know, and then there's like proper protocol to like how you place your ovens, because sometimes it gets very scary when I walk past them like, oh, oil
True.
splashing.
But one of the things I like about Thailand is how unregulated it is. I don't know,
Right.
that goes in the
Very
chaos and the craziness of Thailand. I mean, going from a Western country like America where everything is so regulated, I mean, every dog has to be on a leash. Your grass, you know, if you live in a neighborhood, your grass has to be cut like this length. You have to have the same mailbox as everyone, you know, and in Thailand it's just a
Anything
bit
goes.
crazy. Yeah, and that's kind of like why some of us love it so much, you know?
Right. Okay, guys.
It's more like the hygienic and safety of it. I think
True,
that I
yeah.
want that to be regulated a little bit, but yeah, we don't have to have the same mailboxes. Right?
A question here from Toby Price who says, do you think it's a good idea having big parties due to the current pandemic? Thank you for the question, Toby. Probably not, but I don't think it's going to stop the people from doing what they want.
Yes.
That would be my quick answer.
I want to address this. So a couple of people were telling me how good I look at 58. Guys, I know it's a little bit of a joke. I'm not actually 58. I'm 72. So yeah, just to clear that out.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Oh, Jason, did you show the picture of Andrea Bocelli? I sent you a picture for New Year's. So there's a question. West Texas Greg says, the IA, you'll win the bet. You'll win the bet, Jay. Get some guy named Andrea B to come sing on New Year's. Maybe Tim will fall for it. Well, West Texas Greg, there's been a new poster out. Jason, have you found the poster yet? As you can see now, Andrea Bocelli is on a poster with his son for New Year's, along with a list of other famous singers from Thailand. So it's happening. Andrea Bocelli for New Year's. Andrea. He's made my dreams come true. Here we go. Jay, Star Wars was not inspired by Dune. It was Akira's Hidden Fortress. Stephen Richter, thank you for the comment. Yes, I'm sure Akira's Hidden Fortress was definitely inspired, or was a form of inspiration. But yes, if you actually watch Star Wars and a lot of aspects of Dune and, you know, space travel, this and that, a lot of things, I believe, in my opinion, were inspired from Dune. But that is also because I'm a Dune fanboy. Although I do love Star Wars as well. But we're not going to talk about this on the show now. Perhaps for Unfiltered later today. Did you like my plug?
Love it.
Okay, last question. Natty, do you have one?
Ooh, I am trying to see.
Well, we've got a person here called Albert E, who says, hello, I'm looking for my grandson.
Ooh, that was too loud. I'm so sorry, guys.
And on that note, we're going to end the show because nothing's going to top that. So thank you, Caitlin.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you, Natty.
Yay.
With her jazz hands. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Shai. Thank you to all the viewers for watching our show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe to the video and to the channel. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Jazz hands.